John, you want first question?
Hey, that'd be great. Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon, coaches.
Hey,
Thank you for
John.
coming. Uh, do you provide any sort of history lessons to your guys regarding this series? Obviously, they're in their teens and their 20s, and they don't appreciate the length and competitiveness of this, maybe.
Well, Coach Corley, every Sunday we give a scouting report on the opposing team. One of the assistant coaches does it, and Coach Corley had William and Mary, obviously, and did a great job with it. And kind of, he got some former players, reached out to them, and they told the guys what this series means to them, what the Capital Cup means to them. It's pretty cool. I thought he did an unbelievable job with it, mixing it into the scouting report and kind of gave our guys a little bit of a history lesson.
Is your pregame speech to your players any different before a William and Mary game?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm not sure if a pregame speech does anything for me or any coach out there. So it's, we'll probably just talk about execution on offense, hanging on to the football and playing great defense. And I just don't think there's really a whole lot that happens in a pregame speech that makes much of a difference. Matter of fact, I think they make zero difference, to be honest with you.
Hey, lastly, is there anything that distinguishes the week of practice or the week of meetings before this kind of rivalry game than Towson or Delaware or New Hampshire or JMU?
We try to prepare the same way every week, no matter who the opponent is. Our guys, some of our guys know they got 60 minutes of football left in them. And we've been kind of talking about that and, marking the minutes as they go by. And our guys need to understand how precious some of these guys, 60 minutes of football that they'll ever put the helmet on. So, you hope they're enjoying it. You hope that they understand the significance. And but there's a bunch that they got 60 minutes of football left.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Coach, William and Mary has clearly improved this year, but still they've had an inconsistent season. Does that make them more difficult for which to prepare this week?
No, I think I'm not sure if they've had an overly. I mean, they lost two and lost two to two pretty good teams there. And then the other one was UVA. And, I know they had a hiccup at Maine, but, they're playing well. I mean, even the James Madison game, they did a great job running the football against James Madison, had some seams in there, had popped some big plays. Now Delaware was a little tougher on them, but they're talented. They've got really good players, and Mike's done a great job of accumulating talent there, and we know it'll be a tough day for us out there. I mean, both sides of the ball. It's going to be a great game. I mean, I think the teams are pretty evenly matched, just like they've been for a while here. So should be a typical William Mary Richmond game.
With your improved health and your improved cohesion on both sides of the ball, especially the way the offense is caught up with Joe being back, is this as good as you felt about your team, especially coming off what you did last week, as you have maybe all season?
Well, maybe, but after the New Hampshire game, we came out of that one healthy and got into the Towson game, with all the bodies that we had. There were some that were gone for the year after the Stony Brook game, but after the New Hampshire game, it's always nice when you get on a plane or on a bus and, the trainer doesn't come up to you and say, yeah, we got this guy in a boot, this guy in a kit, whatever it is. And so we, from the New Hampshire to and then Towson to Delaware, and now we're going into William Mary same way. So we've had 3 good weeks as far as, keeping our guys healthy, accumulating, getting some of the guys back that had been injured, and then keeping people healthy. So we're we're as healthy as we can be going into this one.
Coach Eastman, do you hear more from William and Mary guys that you coached or Richmond guys that you coached during this week, or anybody?
Probably, actually, a couple William Mary guys, one that I coached with, sent me text messages. Nobody from Richmond that played here, other than those messages we got on the on Sunday's meeting there. But you know, I spent 13 years at William Mary. It was pretty cool down there. Met my wife, and so a lot of memories. My wife's a William Mary grad. You know, so and tremendous people down there and a great program. But you know, now we're Spiders, and be honest with you, we can't stand them, and I'm sure they can't stand us. I mean, that's weird the way that happens, isn't it? You make great friends, you meet your wife, you spend 13 years, you love the place, and then you go to their rival and you hate them. And that's the way it is. I'm sure Mike hates us right now, and he graduated from Richmond.
Hey, if you had to project one area of this game that's going to determine the outcome, stats would say you got to stop their running game. Is that what you would look at, or something else?
That's part of it. I mean, we have to do a good job. We can't let them bust some big ones. You know, we have to fit gaps like we're supposed to. But John, it's the same way. And I said going into the Delaware game, you know, whoever turns the ball over is not going to win that game. And fortunately we didn't, and they did. And that was the difference of the game. And it really, you know, you can lose a turnover battle and maybe win a game, but the percentages are not in your favor by any stretch of the imagination. And when you got teams that are pretty close, athletically, you know, the turnovers are going to be the factor, and they've been a factor in this game a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, Russ, do you like having this game at the end? I mean, there are some schools that just play an 11th game against whoever the opponent is. Richmond and William Mary always know who they've got at the end.
No question. It's the best thing going. I mean, I don't know how or why they would ever even consider doing anything other than playing this game, the last game of the year. It's a great rivalry, and it's fun to have at the last game of the year.
Hey, Kobe, thank you for coming. Is it fair to say that the Spiders want to give people a real strong impression that this isn't a 5-5 team that comes out there Saturday? That you got stuff to show.
Certainly. Obviously, things haven't gone the way that we've wanted or expected them to this season, but we know that we're much better than our record dictates, and we certainly want to show that against a really good William and Mary team this Saturday.
When you see their running game, which has been the best in the league this year, what strikes you?
They're very consistent, and once they find a play, they stick with it. They've ran a lot of stretch. That's been their big play, and every single time they're cutting off the nose and running it right there. So once they find that crease, they're gonna keep exposing that. But yeah, they keep going back to the well. And if it's not working, then they'll motion somebody across and run it the other way and try the same exact thing. So they're very consistent. Whereas some of the other teams that we've played this year, we've stopped them pretty early on, and then they've got to passing. So I think that they'll bring a much more consistent presence of the run game this week.
And is there anything in your mind that distinguishes days leading up to the William and Mary game in terms of practice vibe or meeting feeling or anything like that?
Not so much as far as what we do as a team. I will say personally, within my film study, I've watched over all of the William and Mary and Richmond games that I've been a part of, and kind of the history and, the importance of this game has kind of set in a lot for me. And I'm sure some other guys have done that as well. But also when you just think of it, obviously this is the last game of the regular season. And as Coach touched on, this is, the last week for a lot of us. So that's another thing going into this week that's kind of important and kind of sets it apart. But again, I don't think it's anything that we're doing separate or different. At the team level, we prepare each week like it's the most important game, because it is the most important game. But definitely, at a personal level, there are some things that you kind of reflect on.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Kobe, first of all, I want to compliment you on keeping that ball high and tight, right there in the crook of the arm. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but you carry it better than half of the running backs on the offensive side, and you can tell them that.
Thank you.
Have you ever scored in 3 straight games before?
I don't think so. Going back to high school, JV, I played some tight end. I scored a couple times there, but I don't know that I've scored back to back like that. So,
well, there's a goal for this week. I know John asked you about the significance of this week, but are you guys as confident going into this game, not only with the players that you have available, but the way that you have played in the last 3 weeks? Is this group as confident as you've been maybe all year?
We're definitely confident, and I think we've been able to stack some games up and go on a little bit of a winning streak. So, that of course builds our confidence. And we're just trying to continue to stack days, stack days of practice. Every time we have a good day of practice, that builds confidence. Every time we have a good meeting or we look at film and we find a key, that builds confidence. So we're really just trying to stack all the little things up so that we can come out and be the most confident team that we can be on Saturday and walk away with the W.
Coach praised this team's cohesiveness, even when you were 2-5. And said, okay, here's our goals. We want to do this. We want to do this. We want to do this. And he said that as a group, you have stuck together. How difficult was it 3 games ago to stay together and to keep the singular focus on a winning season, Capital Cup, sending the seniors out the right way?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. Sometimes you'll go into meetings and you'll see things that you did wrong, or you'll see things that other people have done wrong, and you'll want to turn on each other. But especially defensively, a thing that Coach Wood has done a great job of, focusing on is, he said, every week, every practice, it seems like, we're going to stick together. And that's really been our mindset and our mentality. And, just reflecting on the past couple of years that I've been here, we've stuck together through much worse than this. Like, we've stuck together through much worse than anything that can happen on a football field. Like, we've been through more as a team, and not even in football, just in life. So when you look at it kind of through that perspective and through that lens, it certainly makes it easier to stick together. And then you go on to, that's our focus, is no matter what happens, we're sticking together. Somebody does something wrong, call them out on it. But no matter what, we take our wins as a team, we take our losses as a team, and no matter what, the only way through is as a team. And so that's been something that was definitely harder to do a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, everything gets easier when you're winning. But that's something that I've been so proud of this team for doing it, and so happy for coaches like Coach Wood for making sure that we have that in our minds.
Kobe 6-5 and 5-6 is only 1 game difference, but it sure sounds different, especially given the way Spiders kind of got off the mat here. What would the difference mean to you, being 6-5 rather than 5-6?
It honestly would mean a lot. Just thinking about kind of where we started, being a 2-5 team, and saying that we worked our way all the way back to have a winning record, it would certainly mean a lot. But I think even more so to know that, okay, the game that decided whether or not we were having a winning season or a losing season was against William and Mary, and that we went out and we got a W on their home turf. That would mean so much more.